research that we started around this time last year at the UNA in Enfield and Barnet was largely SDG related. So we picked on a couple of SDGs.
Just say that's Sustainable Development Goals.
Sustainable Development Goal, apologies for using techno language here. And one of them, we chose 2 out of 17 that UN has published around 2015 and decided to basically see whether there is any element of truth to these in the context of borough of Enfield. So in that respect, it was purely an adventure in exploring the UN goals in a reasonably well-off, rich country. And what we found shocked us in the sense that the scale and the scope of food poverty or insecurity in the borough of Enfield, with an average population of about 330,000, was quite high. Almost a fifth of the population of the borough seemed to suffer from some degree of food insecurity. And the rest is in our report, is available for free on the web. Anyone interested, you can download it if you contact myself or Francis. And naturally, there is an element to this. What we have only managed to do through this research and interim publication is to basically touch the surface of the issue, in the sense that the problem does exist. We are not immune to it. It is a bit deceiving. You can't easily see who's suffering from food poverty, whereas typical income poverty or any ill health, etc., tend to have very visible symptoms. So that is one of the deceiving aspects of food poverty. We also found out that there was hardly any budget or anyone who wanted to handle this hot potato. None of the local politicians was willing to even appear in our briefings. Nobody's got budget. Local council has got no budget. The government has no budget. And basically, it's not on the political radar. So there is a sizable proportion of the local population suffering from this. And more or less, there is no one who would admit to it, nor would own it in a sense. So the next step, and I would like to take this step through the working group that we have, Francis has set up in EnCAF. We've been in conversation with the Enfield Food Partnership, which is an entity that the council runs to try and coordinate matters of food provision, food aid in the borough, and try and get to the a bit deeper than just counting how many food banks have we got and what are the metrics of demand and why is it rising and why has food insecurity and food aid become an institutional fixture in the United Kingdom over the past 18 or so years. So what I'm doing with the support of the Food Partnership is to run some workshops from 26th of this month and try and collect the collective wisdom and experience of those who operate the existing food aid institutions, food banks, food operations, and try and get to the root causes rather than just count the beans and do a survey and say, we have got 30 food banks and so many consumers and so on. We've done a lot of interviews with the food bank operators, but we are admittedly at this point, we are none the wiser about what drives people to become dependent on food aid in a welfare state fundamentally. What's wrong? Is there a failure on the governance aspects? Is there failure on fairness? Is there failure on income distribution? We can obviously express opinion. And the point that Francis raised was also climate has a major contribution to food price inflation in terms of shortage of reduction in agricultural yield, and the countries from whom we import in excess of 40% of our food consumption themselves are subject to climate impact and possibly less to export. So it would become a kind of a national issue rather than a local issue. So there is one initiative trying to get to the bottom of, is there any way of understanding the fundamental root causes in an apolitical manner? We're not really worried about whose fault it is. We're just trying to find out the root causes of a major social dilemma. And the climate aspect is quite secondary to it. For those who are interested or wish to contribute to this kind of a social conversation and research, we are commencing this on 26th of March as an online event with the help of Enfield Food Partnership.